Hello everyone, there you are. Now, I kind of told myself I wouldn't respond to this, and I won't respond to it completely directly, but there are certain things that are important about the way I live my life, and that actually give me a rather ironic power in this sort of society, often, so long as our rights are not molested. Our rights are not molested. Kind of mean, almost suggests something a bit too close to what I'm saying. Anyway, stick to the subject, Alex. A lot of things I don't have, owing to my life history, owing to my personality type, which is related to my life history. Genes, naivety, silliness, mistakes, stupid decisions, call it what you like. There's a lot of things I don't have as an individual, which are ironically liberating, like not working for anybody in a career, certainly not working in the public sector for the state, because I don't have any qualification that enables me to teach, that enables me to be a social worker, a health professional, earning upwards of at least £25,000 a year, because they're so badly done to, aren't they? Like my parents and the sort of people who taught me at sixth form say, or didn't, and tend to have very feminist, left-wing, anti-American views, such strong opinions and belligerent opinions when they're supposed to be teaching science. How do people have such strong and belligerent opinions, negative opinions about something they don't know anything about, and which have very little to do with science? Biology, say, health. Men must eat too many pies and chips. That's why they have a low life expectancy. Surgical smears. Men are spreading human papillomavirus. My apologies to Paloma Faith. That sort of nonsense. Finding politics a stick to beat men with when it doesn't really exist. And you try and make a point about this and they tell you don't exist and what you're saying doesn't exist. Men or women of any age in this country. I told myself I wouldn't respond directly to this person I'm thinking of, and I probably won't. Maybe that's sillier and even more cowardly. But I will say I don't like not saying anything in the position I'm in. Like I say, I don't have to worry about reputations as much because I am by nature, and because of my history and my stress and my mental health history, and because of whatever else depression related nervous complaints in my history and creativity, and because I am rebel scum by nature, just waiting for the empire to strike back. People like me who live in the realms of ideas, as a rebel Baha'i was saying recently. It wasn't that recently, but I discovered his videos recently. And I think he's as good as his word, but I don't know that, or as his words are good, being a poet, that we're not as constrained by what most people are, which is a lack of imagination and understanding, or just doing things the way other people want you to do them. And when you do acquiesce to that, it tends to be temporary, and often a very important thing once you get your mind clear to get away from that nonsense. if you're a sufferer of complex post-traumatic stress disorder, you will probably be making it your life's mission to do that very thing. And you probably have a strong sense of justice. And that's why I don't like people walking around like the Big E just because somebody wasn't personal enough to make an insinuation against them. But I probably should never have made a personal insinuation. What allegory am I looking for? It's no coincidence that artists, and I suppose I don't have a lot of writing to my name that much. I do have the odd novel, poetry collection, if you care to find it on Kindle. Tend to suffer in countries like communist China, the Soviet Union, Islamic states, even Bangladesh, say, where you're the first type of person who is targeted and persecuted. The low is us, as the Baha'is like to make out. They thrive on persecution. Well, and if I was to continually say, well, I'm an artist and I'm persecuted, that wouldn't be right, would it? Because my way of life does actually confer a number of advantages on me and who I am and how I choose to live. It gives me choice, or might do. The reason why you tend to acquiesce is because you're in such a dire situation and in a state of mental confusion that you tend to go along with what other people want at that time. And you're not used to judging people properly for not respecting your better nature and thinking rather too much of themselves. Now, I am not the best actor or even non-verbal communicator, but I do know that when somebody looks at you like this, or slightly more sly, that it isn't like this. So the first two attempts at expressions were more narcissistic, weren't they? Malignant. And the second one, if I can continue with this witch hunt, are more innocent in appearance, tend to denote a lack of expression or a lack of a motive to dominate others or a fear of others perhaps. But either way, it's more harmless, it's more benign, unless it's hiding something very ulterior. But when you're met with a negative response, say, I am diagnosed with Asperger's as well, by the way. If you want to give me some credit for that, give me a little benefit of the doubt for that, perhaps these people will want to protest that they have a little bit of Asperger's too, and they're not too comorbidly narcissistic and psychopathic. But point I make is, whenever anyone with a conscience is met with that sort of response, it's a lot like a girl walking down a country lane and being pushed over by some stranger on a bike who they've never met before. Or because he is a type of predator who is almost, not quite indiscriminately, discriminately, but for no good reason, doing that to somebody. What goes through your mind probably of a person like that, I know I can speak for myself, is that I didn't do anything wrong. And I think it reminds me of an episode of Crime Watch. What did I do wrong? And some of us tend to have very long memories. Or what is it about my appearance, say? What is it about my identity, my sex, my religion, my race, my body language, my sexuality, and how would they even know some of these things anyway, that may have made this person think, I don't like you. I don't like your life history. I think you're a joke. I want to tell you right now that you are something less. Right, well, I would just like to switch all that round and aim it at them. Or am I projecting and denying anyway? You wonder what it is you've done wrong. Because that's the essence of a conscience. And I have to wonder how people who have been abused emotionally, who might find themselves in a male refuge, would respond to that sort of treatment. For instance, I don't like the inactions of good people. I don't have to be very diplomatic, because I'm nobody. But you do wonder if you're going to wake up in a Kafkaesque scenario to some extent, for inciting something terrible. And my experience in this country make it so you feel like you're glad you have the inclination to travel. Maybe it's no coincidence. Maybe that's the cause to begin with. Because you know this is no haven. That you wouldn't want to work for the state even if you could. And that other people have actually engineered your life to such an extent that you can't. And maybe at some point, yes. But if I carry on saying I'm the victim, then that's playing the victim, isn't it? So good luck with everybody's lives being compassionate.